everyone, welcome back to my channel, to a brand new video. Am I dreaming? Because I can't believe she's real and she's here and she's mine. So this is Annabelle Ray, Bella for short. So she was born on the 6th of February at 39 weeks. And her birth weight was 9 pounds 2 ounces. Guys, I told you I have big babies. I will actually pass her back to her daddy in a short while and then he can settle her downstairs. But I just thought I'd include her in this bit of the video so you guys could meet her. And yeah, she could have totally been a Valentine's Day baby left uninterrupted in the womb because she was just not ready to come out. So with the elected C-sections, they do give you the week where they're going to be born. When they give you the week, you can actually like put a request in for the date. Well, it just so happened the week they'd given us fell on mine and Ash's anniversary, not our wedding anniversary, the anniversary when we met, which is 16 years, on the 7th of February. And bless him, Ashley, at the consultant's appointments, every single time he kept requesting this date. He kept saying, I met my wife on this date and I would like to meet my daughter on the same day. And the midwives were absolutely loving him because they was like, oh my gosh, he's such a romantic, isn't he? And I was like, yeah. I was like, please let it be earlier because I'm the one that's pregnant with her. And I knew I carried big babies. We requested the 7th of February, but they couldn't do it. So they gave us the 6th, which was the day before. So we did settle on a name in the end. And it is the name that Ashley chose all along. So if you've been following along on the pregnancy videos, I've got everything in a playlist. So I will pop the playlist down below if you want to see the journey from the beginning. And yeah, from 16 weeks, we had a gender reveal private scan. And gender reveal private scan, am I saying that right? Like I said, my brain is really foggy, so I do apologise. We had a private scan at 16 weeks, basically. Found out that she was a girl, of course. And then immediately on the way home from that very scan, this name just came to Ashley and he said, Annabelle. I really like Annabelle. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really cute. Just adjust your little hat, my love. Oh, you are so cute, though. And Daddy wouldn't budge on that name at all whatsoever, right up until the end. We did have a bit of a wobble, like I mentioned in a previous video. And then we wanted to see her and make sure that she, you know, looked like the name we was going to give her, a Christian name. It's so intense picking a name, isn't it? I also had a list of names that I liked. By the way, every name I chose, the middle name was always going to be Ray, R-A-E. That came from my grandmother, whose middle name was May, M-A-Y, like Molly May, but it was M-A-Y, and she was called Jacqueline May, M-A-Y. And I really wanted to incorporate some of my grandmother in her name. Both me and Ashley did. In fact, it was Ashley's idea originally, always is. He didn't know my grandmother. She died when I was 11, but he's heard all about her, obviously, because she was my mother. Yeah, that was just so thoughtful of him to, you know, suggest having some of her name in the name of our daughter. So May was going to be the middle name. Then, because of our surname beginning with R, and fairly awkward to pair and sound with other names, I always think that two names together with the same capital letter works wonderfully. Ray went very well with the surname and it was like May, so that's where Ray came from, basically. So yeah, the names I had on my list were Bella Ray, I just love the name Bella. It's obviously Italian. I love anything Italian. I think my husband looks Italian. I also loved Heidi Ray. I also loved Amelia Ray. And I also loved Sophia Ray. So a week before she was born, we had a little wobble. We'd been calling her Annabelle, Bella for short, which was also on my list, which is why I loved it so much. In fact, you can do a lot with the name. You can be Anna, you can be Bella, you can be Belle, you can be, Ella. But I love every single name that you can make from her Christian name. Gosh, she's just so sweet. She is literally everything. It's been a week. She's a week old right now as we're filming this. And we just can't stop looking at her. We're both just like mesmerised by her. Ashley is enamoured with her. He won't put her down. He keeps stealing her from me at every opportunity. In fact, I'm going to give her to her daddy, if you don't mind. Because he gives the best cuddles, doesn't he? Yeah. Daddy has the best cuddles. And then we'll have a really good chat and I'll talk you through the whole of the birthing story, the C-section, all of that stuff. I'm just going to go and give her to her daddy and I'll be right back, okay? Where? So yeah, the elected C-section date. So the 6th of February rolled around and the night before I was really nervous. In fact, I started crying, not because I was scared or anything. In fact, I was scared, anxious, excited and all of the above. But I was more like, this is the last day I'm pregnant. And I don't know, like, because this pregnancy has surprised me with regards to my first pregnancy being so just awful experience, really. It wasn't nice. And this one's been so lovely. And I've seen it from a different point of view, perspective. Yeah, I know now why some mums say they're going to miss the bump or they're going to miss being pregnant. Listen, that's not to say we will be having any more, especially you, Ashley, if you're watching this. And so we were up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We had to be there at 7 on the dot, but I had to start drinking this preload drink at 6 o'clock, which was basically a carb style energy drink, because obviously you nil by mouth because you're having, surgery. I had to not eat before 12 o'clock last night, and they also told me in the pre-op the day before that make sure you, when your last meal before you do nil by mouth, make sure it's a real carby meal to give you energy to get through the surgery or something. It's better for you. So we had a chippy tea and I had my chippy chips, which I've been craving throughout this pregnancy. Oh, I had a Chinese actually. I even had prawn toast. I love prawn toast. Anyway, I was calm on the morning. Ashley was just amazing as usual, and we get to the hospital and checked in. They took us to this room with the curtain around. It was like a ward, I suppose, but it wasn't the ward. So it's like a waiting ward, waiting for your C-section. And then the midwives came in, they put the stockings on me and the gown and did the paperwork, and they just had you waiting, really explained that we was on the morning list with 2 other couples. It depended on how fit and healthy you were as to who went first. So because I'm fit and healthy, I went last, which I was really gutted about, just because selfishly anxiety and anticipation with regards to anything medical would have made me worse. So I would ideally want to be first on the list. We're here now, let's just get it over with. I was scared to death. I also just want to mention that morning, the morning of the 6th, in fact all day it was just the perfect winter's day. You know I love the winter. I'm a winter baby myself. Obviously Bella's a winter baby as well. Ashley's a winter baby. Me and Ashley are both New Year babies, and we love that climate, like blue skies, frosty, cold, atmosphere, and it was just perfect. There was not one cloud in the sky on the day that Bella was born, and I just had to mention that because that made me really happy. We were sat at the window in this like ward thing with the curtain around us. We were scheduled, like I said, the 3rd in the morning, which brought us to about 11:30. So as you can imagine, we were there from 7 o'clock. So that's quite a lengthy time. And things just didn't go to plan because 11 o'clock rolled around, and obviously I'm gearing myself up to that time. This is it, we're ready to go. And they came in and said, oh, we're really sorry, we've been delayed. I'm sorry, we're sorry that you've been waiting for so long. I'm nil by mouth as well, so I'm absolutely ravenous. The midwife that came to tell us we were delayed decided to tell me, a medical phobic person. I mean, to be honest, she didn't know I'm medical phobic and anxious. I mean, you've literally got to tell everybody, haven't you? You know, when people want to tell you all the things that are wrong with them and they go into absolute detail, like, but you might be telling someone who has an absolute white coat syndrome medical phobia, which I bloody well have. Anyway, this midwife comes in, she says, we're really sorry for your delay, but she starts going into detail at what was happening in the operating theatre with this junior doctor fainting because of the blood and the cutting, and it was a whole ordeal. And I was just thinking, as if you are telling me this when I am medical phobic and I'm about to go into theatre. And Ashley's no better either. He's very squeamish. And she's just telling us like it's just another day in the office. And I'm looking at her as if to say, like, shut up. Shut up. Cut a long story short, we were waiting another couple of hours. Got to 1 o'clock and they came for me. So I went down to theatre, ready to have my epidural. And it was all very calm, and the guy who was doing the epidural, is it called anaesthetist? Probably getting that wrong and I can't say it. But yeah, the guy who was doing the epidural, he was lovely. He was called Angus, and he made me feel really calm because he was just so, like, I don't know, he just had a calm energy about him. It's people's energy I go off. If the energy is off, I'm off. So I'm really happy. He had brilliant energy. I got the anaesthetic in the back, local anaesthetic, so I did feel a little bit of a bee sting, like he said I was going to. I'm just glad I didn't see the needle because it's in my back. That numbed the local area where the actual epidural needle was going in. I've heard this epidural needle is absolutely massive. Have I ever Googled it or wanted to know about it in detail? Absolutely not, because I'm medical phobic, but I do know about it. That went in, never felt anything. He said, actually, you'll feel pressure, not pain. Ashley's in his scrubs. In fact, Ashley looks so good in his scrubs. That man, honestly, he doesn't even have to try. And he looks good in everything. So knowing Ashley could be there and stay with me the whole time made it 10 times better. Obviously, made me more comfortable. And they won't perform surgery until you're absolutely numb everywhere from nipple downwards. So we got to that stage quite quickly. The only thing I didn't like, which obviously, because I'm awake during this C-section, right, so I can hear everything. The screen went up. I can just look at Ashley's face. I can hear all the voices. I've got the anaesthetist at the back of me explaining things as they goes along medically, what's happening. But they have to announce what's happening so that they can write the times down on this whiteboard in the background somewhere. And one of those was knife to skin. Well, I spotted that when they were putting epidural in on the board, and I'm thinking, oh my God. Well, they said it out loud, so I knew that would come in when they were doing it. So the anticipation of a knife going into your skin, because you think you're going to feel it, don't you? Especially if they say it. I don't know what's worse, like not knowing that they've started or knowing that they started. I don't know. Anyway, one of them just went, knife to skin. So I'm just looking at Ashley. I'm feeling all this pulling and tugging, which is always explained to you while you're led there. In fact, I remember someone saying, okay, we're about to break the waters. And then I was just waiting for a cry, because that's all you can do because you can't see anything. So Ashley's looking at me, I'm looking at him. We're literally just about to meet our daughter with like locked eyes at this point. And like, yeah, it was just so emotional. And then we just heard this yelp, this cry. Which was lovely, because that's what you want to hear, to know that they've been born and that everything's all right. And obviously, it's just very emotional, isn't it? And I was crying, and Ashley was crying, and they took her away to clean her off. But they held her up like Simba from The Lion King. They're not pretty, are they, babies, when they've just been born, literally fresh out the womb? I think it's so funny because like Joelle looked like Phil Mitchell. I always say Joelle looked like Phil Mitchell because she was bright red in the face and like she looked angry. In fact, Bella looked angry as well. Bella was like a little mandrake off of Harry Potter's, you know, when they pull it out of the pot. Sorry, guys. I knew I would get upset. Do you know what? This is the first time no, it's not the first time I've got upset, actually. I've been upset a couple of times. Not in a baby blues kind of a way. Not in a depressive, postpartum, hormone crashing type of way. I told you I would just chat you to death if you let me. And like I've said before, from epidural to birth, the baby crying and coming out, it's like 10 minutes. Really, really quick, calm, seamless. It's so neat. I am so grateful to that surgeon. Yeah, he's done a really good job of me. Again, it's so small. I can't believe a £9.2 baby came out of that scar. Actually, I can believe it because, like I said, 20 years ago, Joelle was £9.7 and I had to go and have a C-section because she was too big. The scar is right on the bikini line, and I am not joking you, it is like, it's so small, and you think, how did Joelle get out of there? They're so good at what they do, these C-section surgeons. Ashley, when we first got together and Joelle was like 3 years old, he thought it was just a fold in my skin. He didn't know I'd had a C-section. He thought it was just a fold in my skin. He was like gobsmacked. So they cleaned her up, they passed her to Ashley and wheeled me off to recovery, and Ashley had to follow. He's holding the baby, and I didn't even think to myself that he has never held a newborn baby before. And he said he's never been so scared in his life. Hilarious. So we get to the recovery suite, and yeah, we're just looking at her, and she goes to sleep, and she's just like so content. But they usually are the first 24 hours babies, aren't they? They generally just sleep because they don't know they're out of the womb. Thankful, because obviously you've had a C-section, you just need that time to recover, that first 24 hours at least. Eventually they took us to the ward to get settled in, which wasn't great. I mean, I'm not expecting a 5-star experience from the NHS, but yeah, it's not ideal, not at all. We were next to somebody again. I was like this 20 years ago with Joelle, like she was just asleep, and the ward was a bigger ward then because it was a different hospital. Anyway, it was so noisy on the wards with the other babies. Obviously they cry, some babies cry, and some babies are not very well, and some babies are colicky and all of that, and I understand that. But when you're in recovery as well and your baby's being good and you just want a room to yourself or just some quiet time. But yeah, that happened again. We were next to somebody who was quite loud and noisy, the mother as well as the baby. I don't think she was like bonding very well with the baby. They kept coming in, the midwives, and telling her to pick the baby up because she was just leaving it to cry, and they were trying to explain to her that she needs to cuddle the baby, feed the baby, and the baby's hungry. And it was just all a bit like, and then when the midwives weren't there, she'd put him back and he'd be screaming again, and she'd be on the phone in her own language and crying, and it was quite the goings on behind the curtains next to us, and they were quite close together as well. Like at least 20 years ago, you had a bit of space on the ward. It felt like you were really packed in this time round. It wasn't great. I'd have loved to have had a side room. They do have some side rooms, but they're generally reserved for like people who have babies that are not very well, that have to go to NICU, and then they put those families in them side rooms, of course. So they're reserved for them. If they've got one free though, and there's no poorly babies, and you can request a side room, but they're not guaranteed. So yeah, we were on the ward. There were no side rooms available. Everything's a blur after that, obviously. Time just goes by like that. You're just staring at your baby, like you don't even know what day it is. It's like, I mean, I were high as a kite because they give you obviously all the drugs when you've had the C-section. So I was laid in bed for the first, well, at least 12 hours, laid down, couldn't still move my legs. So they did a good job of the numbing me, which I'm grateful for. I was as high as a kite when the visiting hours came round that evening. Ashley's mum and dad came, obviously, to see the baby. And Joelle was there as well. And oh my gosh, like, I couldn't wait to see Joelle. In fact, obviously I don't have a mother. So, yeah, there was no one there to come to see me in a way. Ashley's mum and dad are brilliant, but obviously, you know, there's nothing like your own mother or your own person. So obviously Joelle's that person to me because I don't really have any family. So yeah, everyone's like obviously excited to meet the baby, of course, rightly so, but I just couldn't wait to hold my first baby. But I was high as a kite when they came round. I don't know what I was saying. I don't know what was going on. Absolutely delirious. Gets through the night. Poor Ashley having to sleep. Poor dads. Actually, can we just take a moment for the fathers having to sleep on those reclining freaking chairs that are rock hard? I just felt so sorry for him. We did bring a lot of stuff with us as well. We were there like bags and bags of stuff, but we need our comfort. We've created this house so beautifully with the home comforts that we would have felt like we were in a third world country if we didn't take our own pillows or anything. First of all, I still didn't have full feeling back to my legs. So I was dead scared to take the catheter out and not be able to get to the toilet and then soil my bed, because obviously you don't want that to happen. Actually start to get some soreness around obviously the site of the operation. That started coming back, the feeling there, and obviously you don't want to wait for the pain to come back and then try and solve it. Ideally, you want to have your meds on time so that you do not feel anything in that area for quite some time. In fact, one of the midwives just lately have said up to a week, like, but in the hospital, and I'm talking 24 to 48 hours after surgery, major surgery, it's just not on. We was having to chase up basic paracetamol and ibuprofen. I was on nothing. No wonder I couldn't get out of bed. I was feeling everything that had just happened to me down there, and that's not on. The NHS care in that respect, when it came to pain meds, keeping on top of pain management, was really poor. I don't want to say the maternity care was crap at all, or, you know, say anything of the sort. I want it to be brilliant, but it's not 100%. And all they kept saying was, which we kept repeating to us, we were having to chase up paracetamol, and she was like, 7 hours ago you've had some, and I thought, that's too long ago, and the pain's coming back, and then I can't get up because I'm back to square one with the pain management. I said to Ashley, I just want to go home because I can take paracetamol and ibuprofen, because that's all they was willing to give me at first, until I really complained, and I had to make an actual point of it and said it was disgusting that I'm having to chase you up. My husband had to say it as well, you know, she shouldn't be having to chase you for pain meds. You're trying to get her out of bed and she can't because she can feel things that she shouldn't be feeling. You need to give her some pain relief. My God. And the whole time we were there, we were having to chase up basic medication, paracetamol and ibuprofen, until I said I wanted something stronger, and I made an actual point of it, and they were still reluctant to give it to me, but they offered me then tramadol, and I said, can you not just give me the morphine, because I'm not good with pain at all, so my pain threshold is 0. I tried to tell that to them every time they came in. They just don't listen. In fact, all they kept saying was, I'm sorry, we haven't been round, we're really busy today, there's been this amount of babies born today, the wards are really full, we can't get round to everybody. That was said quite a few times, which made you feel like you're a hindrance. I don't know, do you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be there, like, you need to go as soon as possible so that we're not as busy. I don't know, that's how I feel anyway. It makes you feel like that, doesn't it? And she said they had to go with the next one up, so the next one's tramadol, and if that doesn't work out for you, but we have to try it, then you can go on to the morphine. So they weren't forgiving me what I'm asking for. Paracetamol and ibuprofen just was not cutting it, okay? And lo and behold, it just set off this really bad headache in the back of my head, this tramadol, and I was so awful off of it. But it did take the pain away, but it made me feel awful in other ways. So it wasn't very helpful overall. And obviously I wanted to breastfeed this child. So to get up from a position and feed a baby off of the boob, you know, you need to get the positioning right for breastfeeding. If you want your milk to come through, they need to suckle and at a certain angle and things like that. So it's quite difficult. It's quite difficult anyway. Never mind when you've been cut open. Because contradictively, they kept coming in and saying, are you breastfeeding? You need to get her on the boob. You need to get her on the boob. You need to get her on the boob. And I was trying to tell them, if you managed my pain correctly, I wouldn't feel the pain to get up, to get her on the boob. You are hindering my breastfeeding experience by not managing my pain. They were not listening. It was just quite annoying, and I was disappointed, really disappointed with that, because I did want to breastfeed Bella. I did try and get her on the boob. It was really funny actually, because it was just me and Ashley in the room when we tried to get her on the boob in the first place. And Ashley has never seen this before, but babies just know, because it's such a natural thing. They automatically search for it. It's just, they just know, don't they? We both just tried together with the baby, and she just latched straight away, like, wow. Yeah, because some babies like struggle to even latch. Like, you've got to help them to latch, haven't you? And then that's a whole deal in itself. But yeah, she just latched straight away. I don't think I got the angles right and stuff, but she knew what she was doing, and we were really proud of her for that. And so yeah, we did try, and my milk weren't just coming in at all. In fact, I didn't know if I was getting any sort of colostrum or anything like that. I didn't know. I was planning to do combi feeding this time anyway, so that wasn't an issue. I was just a bit disappointed that she weren't getting that good stuff, that milk that your body has made naturally, that from creation, is for that baby specifically. Like, if there's something wrong with that baby, your body knows and produces milk to accommodate whatever's wrong with that baby, or whatever that baby needs. And it's just amazing. And that's why I wanted to breastfeed, especially in the beginning, if anything, just to give her what she needs. So recovery wasn't going very well because of the pain management. Like I said, I was starting to get this headache. I thought it was from the tramadol. Anyway, it starts to get more and more intense. I started to worry because the headache I was having was at the back of my head. It started to travel down my neck, and I just knew it was something to do with my spine, and I couldn't move my head. At one point, I couldn't lift my head up off the pillow because it was that pressure headache. It was travelling, like I said, down my neck, getting worse, down to my spine, and I really started to panic. I just thought, oh my God, I'm going to be disabled or something from this spinal block. Something's gone wrong. Also, I couldn't lift my head off the pillow to get up to Bella to breastfeed her at this point anyway. I'd been trying, and then this hindered me as well. And they said, oh wow, okay, 1 in 200 women have this called a spinal tap medically, and that is a spinal headache. And yeah, 1 in 200 women, had to be me, didn't it? That 1 in 200 get this spinal headache, and it's where they've punctured your spine with the needle and it's leaking, and then it builds up pressure to your head, in your brain, and causes this terrible headache. The only way you can get rid of this headache, you either have to ride it out and lie down flat and ride it out, or they have to go back into your spine and transfer blood from your arm into the spine to block this airway, and that's called a blood patch, spinal, to solve the headache, this really intense thing. You could not write it. By this point, they'd moved me from tramadol to morphine because I thought the tramadol was giving me the headache. It turned out to be the spinal tap and not the tramadol. But because they'd changed me from tramadol to morphine, liquid morphine, which didn't work, because of the switch over on meds, they had to keep me in longer. In the ward with the bay and the curtains, and like I said, the lady next door who was crying and the baby was crying and she wasn't tending to the baby, them next door, the father of the baby kept tapping in and coming into the ward when he wasn't supposed to. And the midwife is trying to tell him, because you could hear everything, the midwife's trying to tell him, like, you've been told you can't come in here. Who's let you in this ward? We've got babies on this ward. We have to keep them safe. He starts arguing with her, the midwife. She was so lovely as well. She was actually trying to help that baby, you know, because the baby wasn't being tended to or anything. And she's trying to help them with the newborn baby, and all he could do was argue with her about, who do you think you are? You a doctor? You can't tell me I can't be on this ward. And this is all going on next door. And I'm like, I'm in recovery here too with my baby. I'm like, you're getting louder. I've got a baby here. I'm a bit scared. So Ashley, you know, is primal. Of course, it's his new baby. It's his wife. Also, he's protective by nature. He's a man. He's a man's man as well, you know, like, he's like, how dare you treat a lady like that? He doesn't like it. Like the hero, opened the curtain and said to the guy, can I have a word with you outside? And he must have thought, oh God, because like, Ashley's 6'5", isn't it? So he took him outside and said to him and gave him some stern words and said, you don't treat women like that, and whatever else he said to him. But he basically got him out of the way and out of the ward, and out of the hospital doors. And all the midwives came into us and like thanked him, because it was the middle of the night and they were all women, all these midwives. There's no men or security, so they were quite scared themselves, and they just said, like, if it wasn't for you, like, we don't know what would have happened, and there's babies on this ward, we have to look after and keep safe, like, we can't thank you enough. But luckily, because of all that situation, they said to us the morning afterwards, because you have to stay in longer, we're going to put you in a side room. We've got one free. We just want to thank you, husband, for what he did last night. And just in case that guy comes back, you know, then you're out of the way and off the ward, not next door to them, kind of a thing. So they wheeled me off in my bed into this side room. Oh, and it was quite lovely. It was quite lovely. At this point, it's the next day. So it's the 7th, because it was our anniversary on this day. So I'm still bed bound. We're in this side room now though. So thankfully, Ashley had gone out and got us a chippy tea. It was our anniversary, 16 years, and we were sat there eating chips and gravy. Baby's asleep in the hospital crib thing, and she's just sleeping away like literally just sleeping. She's such a content baby. And we were eating chips and gravy from a chippy, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just one of them moments I'll never forget. Like, it was our anniversary, we were in hospital, all this has just happened, it was just all one big blur, and yeah, I'll just never forget it. The most calmest baby, and I prayed for that because Ashley's really calm. He's got a real calm nature, and I prayed that Bella had a real calm nature, and thankfully she has. I kept saying that to the midwives, and they were like, wait till day 3, she'll be a completely different baby, and we were ready for that. Of course, we would have had to deal with it, but we're a week down the line and she's just the most content baby. I'm telling you, she's just like a dream. She doesn't fuss, she doesn't cry, she's not a cryy baby. She cries if she's cold and you take too long doing a nappy, she'll do a bit of a cry, but as soon as you've got, you know, her settled back down again and warm and dressed, she's back to normal and back asleep. She is my double. Much to Ashley's delight. He wanted her to look like me and I wanted her to look like him. We're excited to see what her eyes are going to look like, but she's got olive skin like me and him. Ashley has been a dream husband and father so far. He's so enjoying his fatherhood. In fact, he's so hands-on. He was obviously initially because I couldn't get up for the first 48 hours, so we did a lot of the feeds, a lot of the getting up to her in the night, and when she did wake up, other than that, she's a content baby, so, you know, it wasn't really like a lot for him. She wasn't a cryy, unsettled baby, thankfully. Thank you, Jesus. He can't stop staring at her. He's absolutely enamoured with her, besotted. He can't stop looking at her. In fact, if I've got her, he'll come and take her off me, which is fine. It gives me a chance to rest and recuperate. And yeah, he's just being the best dad so far. So good, and I knew he would be, you guys know. I'm just so in love with life right now. Like, I've been waiting for this hormonal crash postpartum, you know, this crash in hormones. I've not really felt teary at all. I actually have at moments when I'm looking at him and her together, but it's just because I'm so emotionally in love with the moment. That's why I want to cry, not because I'm like, oh, this is all too much, or I'm too tired, or I'm actually sleeping really well. Like I said, she only gets up in the night, she wakes every 3 hours for a feed, and she doesn't even cry. Like, you wake up, she wakes up making noises and stirring, but it's not a cry, so she's not screaming in the night or anything, and then you get up, you feed her, and she goes right back to sleep. It's like, she's just brilliant. I just know you're all going to get in the comments and be like, that's going to change, and obviously, if it does, it does. Day 3, we got out of hospital eventually. We were tired, not from baby, we were tired from being in the hospital for so long. You just want to get home, don't you, to your home comforts. It was like walking into a 5-star hotel coming home. Honestly, could not wait. We got a takeaway, I think, I can't remember, on that night. Saturday night we got out. We're tag teaming as well, so we can both get some really good quality rest. My milk came in eventually, so all the work we tried to do that I thought had been hindered by me not being able to get up frequently enough because of the pain management, etc, etc, it actually paid off, because on day 4 or 5, was it day 5 that morning, and I'd given up at this point, I'm not going to stress about it, that next morning I woke up with full breasts, to Ashley's delight. Formula feeding, obviously it doesn't sit well in their tummies as well as breast milk, so it can give them like gas and all sorts, and that's why you have to wean them. You don't even have to wean them off of breast milk. The breast milk calms down the gas, like it solves all the problems in the tummy. So I always give her the boob afterwards as well, for comfort, for bonding and all of that stuff. So she's getting basically the best of both worlds. So she was £9.2 when she was born, and she lost her birth weight. Babies lose up to 10% of their birth weight. So she went down quite fast after that, even though she was feeding really well. She went down to 8.13, and then she's been slowly from that creeping back up. She's a week old and she is back to her birth weight. We're due to be signed off by the midwives next week, so that's really good because there's no concerns with baby. I'm healing really well. They're checking on my scar every time and that's all healing really well. There's no issues. My spinal headache has gone. It went actually as soon as I got home. So I just knew that I just needed to be at home, and I'm managing my own pain meds now. So just obviously paracetamol and ibuprofen every 4 to 6 hours, or however, you know, it is, long it is. But yeah, it's managed very well. So I'm just healing by the day. We went out yesterday for the first time with baby, so that were really nerve-wracking. We had her in the pram. You'll have seen that on Instagram. I did take some video clips and I popped it on a reel on Instagram because I was just so excited to go out and get some fresh air. However, it were too soon. I walked around B&M and then I walked around Aldi. We just went to Aldi and B&M to get some bits, to be honest with you, as a first outing, so to speak. And I did walk too much, I think, that first time. So I'm just trying to find what's, you know, what I can do. You know, I don't want to do too much, but I don't want to not do anything either. I want to get going with life. We're registering her birth next week and just going through the things that you do really when you've just had a baby. I've got to register at the doctors as well and do like just some bits and bobs in that respect. But she's a dream. I'm healing well. And yeah, I can't believe we did it, guys. We did it. I can't believe I did that. Like, I'm really proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself, honestly, because I'm such a medical phobe and just nervous and anxious and about anything to do with anything like this. I just can't believe I've had a baby. What? Me? Joelle can't quite believe she's got a little sister. She's just gutted because she started a new job and obviously she's working full time. She doesn't live in the same town anymore. Yeah, she's just gutted she can't spend more time with her, but with her being 20 years old, she's busy and she's got a full-time job. But we're just going to keep to our usual Sunday routines, roast dinner days and catch-ups and family day on a Sunday. So I'm just grateful for any time we get with Joelle and any time that Joelle and Bella get to spend together. But like, Joelle held Bella in the hospital that night. As soon as like we were allowed visitors, she came up to the hospital and stayed a bit longer actually because siblings were allowed to stay a little bit longer. She finished work and came up to the hospital and she was like sat there with the baby and she was like, Mum, I've never held a baby before either. And it was like, yeah, she hasn't. But thank you for congratulating her in the comments on Instagram as well. Like, you were all congratulating Joelle on becoming a big sister, and it really warms my heart because I think, was it the day before, just quickly, the day before, like I said, all I wanted was my firstborn. I mean, I was excited to meet my new baby, but I just wanted to have this moment with my firstborn daughter. And yeah, Ralphie has been an actual dream. So he did go to my brother-in-law's, Ashley's brother. They lost their dog at Christmas, Ronnie. Bless him, R.I.P. Ronnie. Just with the quietness of not having a dog all of a sudden, it's hard, isn't it, when you lose a family pet and the hole it leaves. We were getting updates from him and I was like, oh, they're going to steal me dog. That was really, really nice, the family, to have our middle child, so to speak, because you've got to remember, Ralph is 6 years old and he's been with me he's been with us since he was 8 weeks old when we got him. And obviously I don't do a regular job, I work from home, so I've been at home with that baby puppy the whole time. Then obviously it's always very nerve-wracking when you come home and they meet him for the first time. He was so excited to see his mummy daddy and doing his usual like excitement run, and then we had a baby as well, so we were really nervous. So Ashley was very primal protective mode over the baby. Anyway, we just did it really, really slowly. We let him have his run around and, you know, a mad sort of half an hour until he was settled back at home with just me and him. But he could see there was a baby in the room every time she made a noise, and he was like all over the place. So we didn't let them meet at that point. We just let you know, kept them separately until he'd really calmed down. Yeah, he's done really well, and now he just loves her. Really happy. I knew he would be. You know your own dog, don't you? There's not one malice bone in that dog's body, I'm telling you now. Not one. But I'd never give him the opportunity either. So many of you on Instagram congratulating us on the birth of Bella, and I'm just ever so grateful to you guys for coming on this journey with us, because it's been all a bit of a surprise from the start, and like I can't believe we're here. Like, I was saying this on our anniversary, sat there eating chips in the hospital. And from the hospital bed, I was like, this time last year we were in Rome celebrating our anniversary, and I never thought for one single second that this time next year we'll have a baby. Yet here we are. And life and its twists and its turns, it just blows your mind, doesn't it? How life can just change. But it's also exciting. I'm just glad to have this birth out of the way because of the medical phobia. I'm just glad to have got through that bit, okay? And now we can get to work and we can enjoy all of the magic, and we can enjoy this little tiny girl. Say tiny, she's a big girl, isn't she? Yeah, thank you all so much for your love and support along the way and from the birth of Annabelle, and I'm so proud and happy to announce that she's been born and sit and chat with you. And like I said, if you're new at this point to my channel, make sure you're all subscribed. A thumbs up goes a really long way, so please thumbs up the video. And leave me a baby related emoji if you're still here at the end of this video, and I'll meet you in the comments. Always leave me a comment. I love to chat with you guys down there. And I think that's a wrap, everybody. I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.
Life is for living. Let's see where the sun might lead.